Have you used the podcasting function on any of these services, like Spotify at all?
No, because despite being in a podcast, I don't really listen to podcasts.
You and many others out there don't worry.
Like podcasts are a thing that you kind of consume on the go, and I don't consume media on the go.
Yeah.
The only thing I listen to on the go, so to speak, is music. Yeah. And that's actually kind of rare. Many a time I will drive where I need to go in complete silence, and that doesn't bother me. Some people are like, oh, I gotta have something on, and I don't care. Okay. So I'm not really one who consumes media on the go a whole lot. So that's why I don't really listen to podcasts. I
find that fascinating. You don't listen to anything while driving.
Very rarely.
Very rare. Well, I remember I would ride with you a couple times in your car, and it was just quiet. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
I'd just be quiet with you. I'd just be like, oh, whatever.
I like I like music on.
Something I'm not used to.
I like music on. When I'm like the passenger in a car, but if I'm driving, I don't need music on.
Just the sound of the engine, man. You're like, I paid for this engine. I want to hear it every day. Well, call me a psychopath, David, but I actually listen to or watch podcasts like by themselves sometimes. Like I'll be enticed by the conversation or whatever people are talking about, whether they're surrounded in couches with each other or literally on 3 separate screens on the same screen and a call. I'll just be like, oh, wow. And I'll just sit there at my desk and just like watch them for a little bit and zone out. And then I'll keep going and do what I was doing, like cleaning the house or whatever. But there's times where I'm like a psychopath and I just watch people talk.
Yeah, you know what? Sometimes I do that. Sometimes
I mean, it's like watching a YouTube video, sure, but it's like they're just people talking heads.
Yeah,
they're just.
But I mean, there's talking head YouTube content, but it's generally
heads, the legendary.
But it's generally like you like 10 to 30 minute videos. But then a podcast is generally like hour, 2 hours, stuff like that, So it's kind of a different ball game. So like, yeah, I'll sit there and watch a 30-minute YouTube video, but if I'm generally not going to be like, okay, I'm going to sit down and dive into this hour-and-a-half long podcast while doing absolutely nothing,
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm like you, I'll sit there and I'll listen to a podcast for a little bit, and then I'll go on with whatever I was doing. But generally, because I don't consume media on the go as a rule, well, not as a rule, but just
as a habit.
Yeah. I really don't consume all that much podcast content.
Yeah, I different strokes for different folks for sure. And also like there's just some things that people like adore watching from certain creators that just other people don't. Like I adore Matt and Heather. They love Good Mythical Morning. They love Rhett and Link, but I don't. I could give less of a. I couldn't care less about what Rhett and Link have to say, even though they do make a good show and they're very entertaining. And quality. I will give them that, but it's just not my thing at all. Or like, I think they'd watch they probably don't anymore, but like a lot of the BuzzFeed cooking stuff with all the different personalities in there, like that's something that's not for me. But people watch it and it's popular. People love it.
There's all sorts of content out there that's entertaining, and if I'm like
they'd be watching that when when they were living with us, they'd be watching that out here in the living room, and I'd be watching like Sacred Symbols, a 3 or 4 hour plus PlayStation podcast in my room. Well, I'm like, oh, I should probably clean up my room or organize my stuff or go through some whatever. And just waste time just spending 3 hours,
Oh man.
So
yeah,
but and I will tell you, like in that aspect, podcasts have really like screwed up my media watching habits, just because there's always content from that specific company I watch from, and just other news or information to consume, which has just ruined my habit of watching like a movie or a TV show. Like I just don't really watch TV anymore, like at all. I don't know about you, but
it's hard to watch TV when we don't have TV.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about like just regular shows, or even like movies that I have that I haven't that I own that I haven't watched, like a Blu-ray that's sitting on the shelf, or my watch list on a streaming service. Like I just won't go out of my way to watch it anymore because my mind and time is consumed with that. And I think it just has to do being white and being male, and that's what we do. But
the podcasts have infected your brain.
White man must be here. How can you tell? Podcast or no, a video essay.